plenty of legionnaires to talk about, but today we'll be focusing on our legionnaires in Ukraine. You know what time it is? It's time for Team Melli Talk. Hey everyone, glad you're back for some more Team Melli Talk. I'm your host, Eftekhari. Let's go ahead and get started. And joining me once again,
Pasha, Gerami. Pasha, how's it going? Good to have you back.
It's good to be with you. Our nice jersey, by the way. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Really love adding to this collection. So having said that, let's get right to it with our legionnaires in Ukraine.
Allahyar Sayyadmanesh and Shahab Zahedi. And recently, Allahyar Sayyadmanesh, scored a winning goal against Leicester City in Europa League play. And let's not forget, he just scored another goal, this time in league play against FC Alexandria. Now, starting first with Allahyar Sayyadmanesh.
Pasha, from your point of view, what can you say about, about Allahyar's stint in the Ukrainian Premier League with Zorya Luhansk?
Sure. Let me quickly preface by saying the end of his last season at Fenerbahce too was impressive in my opinion. He played well. He subsequently got loaned out to Zorya, where he's at currently, and he's been doing well. He scored, I believe, 3 goals so far in his time in Ukraine. One of them was about a month and a half back, where he scored a nice individual goal, and then obviously the goal against Leicester, and then he scored again today in the 95th minute, coming off the bench. So he's been really good. One of the things I really like about him is his physicality. To my understanding, he has a history of being a wrestler, and his dad was a wrestler, he was a wrestler, one of the two or both. So he is very physically strong. He wins his aerial battles, he wins his shoulder-to-shoulder battles too. He's a nightmare for defenses. So all of that is going for him. He's also pretty clinical too. We saw with his goal against Leicester, that was a great goal. Some might say it's a simple tap-in. In my opinion, it's not. I'm really excited to see more from Allahyar.
And, talk about, depth. It's interesting the way things go. I mean, I remember like over 10 years ago, there was a time where Team Melli, was lacking players at the striker position. And now it's like there is like an extra abundance, if you want to call it that. I mean, there's just like call it a surplus, whatever you want to say. There are a lot of strikers. It's tough right now. And especially with Sardar Azmoun being the top striker for Iran, we know there's always, he's done so much damage. He's an amazing player.
But let's talk about Shahab Zahedi. I mean, currently the top scorer of the Ukrainian Premier League, with Olympic Donetsk. And, my question for you is, is Shahab Zahedi worthy of a call to Team Melli? And better yet, maybe the better question is, what more does he need to do to get that call up? Like I said, currently top scorer of the Ukrainian Premier League.
There are perhaps some factors we don't know about as to why he's not been called up to Team Melli, but we don't have to get into those things. We can talk about his football. His football has been great. The problem is, like you said, it's been a bountiful harvest for Iran in terms of strikers. We have so many great options. It's difficult for some of these guys on the sides to get some time. I think he should move to Dynamo Kiev. There have been rumors about him moving to Kiev. If he does, I think that's really going to shed some light on him, and he'll definitely get a call up. I would hope from Skocic. But yeah, man, I think that he just needs to continue doing what he's doing and score goals.
In all honesty, when we talk about, top leagues in Europe, we know the truth. We know the Ukrainian Premier League isn't, the best of the best or things like that, but it still is a pretty good league, especially when you have dangerous teams in that league, like you said, Dynamo Kiev, and especially Shakhtar Donetsk.
But, you got to it before I could, talking about these rumors. Supposedly there are rumors that Dynamo Kiev is interested in getting Shahab Zahedi on a transfer, when that transfer window comes. But from my point of view, I don't like the idea of Shahab Zahedi going to Dynamo Kiev, because from my point of view, I feel like this would be a move for Dynamo Kiev to swoop him up, keep him on the bench, and just, hurt Olympic Donetsk. I mean, that's my mindset. I mean, what's your, what's your take on that?
That's a fair perspective. People talk about mafia leagues and mafia teams. Turkey is, in the opinions of many Iranian football fans, a mafia league, and it's sort of been a place where Iranian players have gone to rot. Majid Hosseini, Allahyar Sayyadmanesh, Vaid Amiri. I'm not too sure about the Ukrainian league. I don't know much about how things work there. I think Shahab Zahedi has a good reputation there. So if he were to make the move to Dinamo, I don't want to be as pessimistic about his future if he were to make that move. Um, I think it would be good for his career. If he wants to play for Team Melli, I think he should make that move.
And, we know Shahab Zahedi is a pretty interesting player. I mean, it's not very often that we could talk about a legionnaire who even had a stint in Iceland. But, whatever path it is he took, he's in the Ukrainian Premier League now. So like you said,
perhaps maybe if he does get the Dynamo Kiev, that could be that final, deciding factor in, Skocic saying, okay, I got to call this guy up. He's playing for this big team. Because, when it comes to Ukrainian football, everyone knows just two teams, Dynamo Kiev and Shakhtar Donetsk, and that's it.
Right, those are the two big teams in Ukraine. Obviously, Shakhtar plays in the Champions League, and this season they've been more than respectable. Although they didn't make it to the round of 16, they played great against Real Madrid, winning both of their leg ties against Madrid. The Ukrainian league is, in my opinion, more or less an up-and-coming league. So I hope that both Allahyar and Shahab can continue to progress and, maybe make a move to somewhere in Western Europe after a couple of years there.
We are getting ready to wrap up this edition of TMLE Talk, but as we're about to finish this up, here's an important question. So based on current form of both players, Allahyar Sayyadmanesh and Shahab Zahedi, so I said, based on their current form, which player do you think has a better chance of consistently playing for Team Melli, the national team of Iran?
Right. So if we look at the previous Team Melli list against Bosnia, obviously barring Taremi and Azmoun, who are solidified strikers, you had only 3 strikers invited, and they were Kaveh Rezai, Karim Ansarifard, and Mehdi Qaidi. In my opinion, if either one of those two guys wanted to have a shot at Team Melli, Ansarifard, Qaidi, or Rezai would have to be dropped for them to have a chance to play. Personally, more spotlight is on Allahyar, I believe, because he's only 19, because he played for Fenerbahce, and because he scored on his debut as a teenager for Iran. And Shahab Zahedi hasn't really been on the national scene, at least the senior national scene. So I think Allahyar has a better chance of playing consistently for the national team in the future. But currently, Shahab Zahedi has been great. He's the top goal scorer in Ukraine. So that's a really difficult question, Art. We just have to see what happens.
And you're right about it being, you're right. It is a difficult question. I totally understand that. For me, the one thing I want to add to it is that when I say he deserves a call-up, I'm saying he deserves a call-up. It doesn't mean that that doesn't translate to he should be playing, he should be starting. I just want to see him get a call-up and then see where it goes from there. If he doesn't make the final cut, even to dress, or if he just ends up sitting on the bench the whole game, then so be it. I just want to see him get a call-up.
I hope so too.
And with that, it is time to wrap up this edition of TMLA Talk. Pasha, as always, great to have you on the show. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Art. I really appreciate it, man. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you. Same to you as well, Pasha. And of course, thank you to everyone for the support. Really do appreciate it. Get to our website, www.teamletalk.com. You know where to find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know the handle, @TeamLATalk. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that notification button. Remember, this is your spot for the latest news on Team Melli, the national team of Iran.